Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Haley, a mom to 3 little girls, married to my husband Dan, working as a full-time attorney in Minnesota. And on this channel, I go over my family's budget. In today's video, I'd like to talk about basically the process that I do each month when it comes to essentially like a mid-month review. I like to check to make sure I'm not missing any transactions. I like to see how my budget's doing. Are we on track in most categories? Do any changes need to be made to the budget spreadsheet? Things like that. And I haven't done a video like this yet. And so I figured I'd show you what my process is to make sure that not only are we staying at least somewhat on track, but I'm verifying that there aren't any unexpected bills and things like that out there. So if you feel like this video would be helpful, make sure you stick around and we'll jump right in. First of all, I am sharing a spreadsheet that I use each month when it comes to budgeting for my family. I purchased this from CoPlenty. I will add a link in the description box if you're interested. But basically the way this works is we have our income up at the top, and then a few things that I like to verify as I do this sort of mid-month check-in is what I've spent so far, what we have remaining, and basically is there any area of concern or changes that need to be made. So before I started filming this video, I went through my credit card statement and my bank statement to make sure that I am not missing any transactions. Typically, I try to do transactions maybe not every day, but pretty close to every day, just to make sure that I stay on track, because it can get a little overwhelming, especially with a big family. We are always kind of out and about and having to pick things up here and there and stuff. And so I don't want to get too far behind. But in this case, in August, I did not track spending like I should. So I thought now would be a great time to do this video because I was behind. I went through my credit card statement and my bank statement, and I added all of our transactions so far. I also like to add the bills that we have on auto pay, because really what I'm trying to do here is assess how much we've spent so far, or how much has been allocated to other expenses. And these automated bills are already allocated. So I'll plug those in as well, even if they haven't technically been pulled yet. So then I can get a good sense of what our actual amount left over is on our spreadsheet, so we can see how kind of the rest of the month is going to look. Okay, so now that we have all of the transactions in the spreadsheet, I am going to first look at left to spend. We have, for the month of August, $2,435.52 left. So not a huge amount, but again, all of our fixed bills, savings, things like that have been pulled. For total expenses, we have spent $10,021.48 so far, and I do zero-based budgeting. So as you can see, we have $0 left to budget because we don't have any unexpected income. This is another point in time where if, let's say we sold something, let's say we sold, a desk for $200 on Facebook Marketplace, I would add the $200 right here, and then I can allocate that to somewhere in my budget spreadsheet. So those dollars are allocated somewhere intentionally. In this case, we unfortunately did not sell something for $200, so I'm going to take that away. So we have an accurate reflection. So right now we're just working with our typical income of almost $12,500 for the month. All right, so scrolling down, we have a couple different categories that I like to budget with that work really well. We have a savings category, bills, expenses. These are our variable expenses. And then over at the end here is our debt. In this case, I will just walk left to right. So we've got $625 allocated to our Roth IRA. We did already put that money into our savings account. Typically what we do is we put it in a non-brokerage account and we invest it throughout the year. And then at some point, in this case, it'll be 2027, we will fund my Roth IRA in full from that account. And so that's sort of just the process that we have used to make sure that we are filling that completely each year. We want to make sure that's fully funded. And so right now we are focused on trying to pay down our debt. I'll talk about that in a minute. So we don't have any other savings for the month in terms of goals. For bills, we have our mortgage. This is an automated payment, and so I have that inserted as if we've already paid it. That will actually get paid at the end of the month. We have paid Excel and Minnesota Energy. That was a little bit lower than we anticipated, so that was great. T-Mobile came down a couple dollars less. Student loans, I'm on the public service loan forgiveness program, and so I pay just an income-based payment right now for student loans, and I only have 4 payments left. So this is a automatic pull, so I've included that in our budget. Daycare, this is something that I'm going to need to change here, but we've got $3,500 budgeted, and so far we've spent $2,372. I currently have 3 kids in daycare because of the summer months. I have my 1-year-old and my 4-year-old in a full-time daycare center, and then my oldest, who's 6, is in basically like a summer camp program. And one of the changes that we're going to have to make today is I'm actually having to increase this amount because we ended up adding some days for my oldest to attend camp for the rest of the month. Just with our work schedules and such, it worked out better this way. So I'm actually going to have to increase this by about $700. So we're going to add $4,200 for that new goal, which then means that our budget is negative $700. So I need to find $700 in another location to offset the savings that we need to put into our daycare savings account. Okay, so then moving on with our bills category, MetroNet came out as normal. This is an automated payment, security system is automated, and then YouTube Premium is automated. If you have the option to automate your bills, I highly suggest it. Where I get a little hesitant on automation is if it's something that's a variable expense. So mortgage is going to be essentially the same each month. It may change if you end up being short on like an escrow account or something like that, but for the most part, it's consistent. Same thing with our security system, that if it does change, it'll go up like a couple bucks, and we usually get a letter in the mail before that happens. Things like XL Energy, this is our electric bill, this could vary. And so I do like to know about bills that could change just so I can flag it if something crazy were to happen and we get, an $800 electric bill because something is going on in the house or there was an error or something. I don't want $800 pulled from my checking account. So those types of bills I do not automate. The rest I do. So that is our bills section. Scrolling down, it has a total budgeted amount here of $8,053. And so far we've spent $6,216 and then some odd cents from that category. Looking over at expenses. So we are doing so well on groceries so far this month. I am really proud of myself because this is a category, if you've been following along, I've been struggling with it. So one thing I did this month is I have only gone grocery shopping one time so far, with I think one exception where I had to get a couple fresh items, and then milk I had to refill once. But I tried to push as far as I can into the month to stretch what we have on hand to then cut back on our grocery bill. So in this case, I didn't go grocery shopping until I want to say it was the first week, after the first week of August. So we're doing great on groceries so far. We will actually be gone this following weekend. So I do have to do a small grocery shop for just this upcoming week. But after that, we have maybe 1 week left of August. And so I think not only will we be on budget, I think we could even be somewhat significantly under budget if we keep going down this path. So that is groceries, super happy about that. Really my main focus reviewing the expenses category is just, are we wildly off in any area? Whether we're wildly under, or maybe we could pull some money and allocate it somewhere else, or are we over and we need to pull from another category to supplement? In this case, dining out, we are good there. Dan and I took a couple days off of work, and so we had some fun with the girls, taking them out for breakfast at a coffee shop near our house and things like that. So we spent a little bit of money dining out. Fuel, we are quite low. However, we do have that trip that we're going to be out of town, so I don't really want to touch fuel yet, and we'll likely need to fill up this week. So we'll probably have like 2 to 3 more fill-ups. And those range right now with gas prices being what they are between like $40 and $50. So I'm not going to touch this category, even though we are quite low right now. Shopping and miscellaneous. This is an area where I have gone over. And the reason for that is I do family scrapbooks where I take pictures from the previous year and I make a family scrapbook and I design it using Shutterfly. And I always wait for a particular sale. They do unlimited pages and it can knock off like $200 to $250 off these books. And so whenever they run these sales, I always try to order the book at that point. I did not budget for that because I didn't realize the sale was going to happen. And so I ended up purchasing the book without there being a budget in place. So I do need to make sure that that amount is covered. It should not be a big deal. If I have to pull from my personal savings account, that's fine to cover it. That's just one of those categories that, it's kind of hard to plan for because I don't know when the sale is happening, which is why I use sinking funds, is for things like this. Household items, we are under. Clothing, we are under. We've spent nothing, which is not a surprise. Gifts and birthdays, we are over. There were 2 things that happened this month that were unexpected. Unfortunately, a family member's house burned down, and so we donated some. I sent a gift. My family sent a gift to her, just to kind of help while she's sort of in transition and before insurance payout and things like that. And so we wanted to do that for her. And then a good friend of mine, his stepmom had passed away, and so we wanted to buy them dinner. So with that, these weren't huge gifts, as you can see. It's not a huge amount of money, but we wanted to at least give back to people we care about that are going through tough times. So I treat this category very seriously. If we don't have the money, we will find the money, because we want to make sure we take care of those we love when they're in, like I said, tough situations. Or conversely, if there's something to celebrate, we like being able to do that. So I highly suggest, if you're a budgeting person, to have this sort of treating others and gifting category, because it is nice just having money set aside for situations like that. A GoFundMe pops up, things like that. Health and self-care. I got my hair done, and I don't expect any other expenses. So we're like right under budget. I don't foresee there being much more needed for this category. So we're probably okay. So far, nothing on alcohol, tobacco, bars. Home updates, repair, and yard. This is a fun one. Sarcastic. Our garage door broke, so we had to hire a company to come out and fix our garage door, which actually reminds me, I have a sinking fund for that. So what could be something that could completely throw off our budget is actually going to have 0 impact, because I have a home maintenance sinking fund that I can pull money from. So that was actually $375. We had a return, which is why it was sort of offset for the budget. But I am going to add $375 that I'm going to then pull from our savings account to go back into our budget here. And so this is how I do it. It's our house maintenance sinking fund. When you do negative, that means you're pulling from your savings. If you have just $375, it means that you're adding to that savings, because it's marked as a savings account. So they're kind of opposite. So yeah, I did not add that before. So that will help a little bit with our overage. So yeah, that covers the home maintenance. I don't think we've spent any other money on home maintenance. So, and with us being gone so much the rest of the month, I don't foresee us doing any other home maintenance projects. So we're probably fine there. The savings pull will offset that. Holidays, $21. We do have our Harvest Festival coming up that we're going to buy tickets for. I think I put that under entertainment though, and travel instead of holidays. So I'm actually going to change this to 75 to kind of start contributing back to that 700 for our budget, because I ended up putting the $92 season pass under entertainment. Repair, maintenance, we have to bring our vehicle in for an oil change. I've been talking about this for like 2 budget cycles at this point. We are just being really lazy about it, and we need to make it a priority. Let's see here. We've got tech purchases. We had to buy a couple cables that I think Dan found super cheap. Work expenses, I ended up not going into the office because I used vacation time, so I didn't have to go in. So this I can actually drop down to 16, since I only have 2 days in the office. Entertainment, because I ended up putting that $90 under entertainment instead of holidays, we might be a little over here, but that's okay. We'll get it to kind of all line up at the end. And then girls were actually over budget. Oh, that's right, because they had a wipe sale at Costco, and then we had to replenish the diapers at my daughter's daycare, and so I had to get an extra box of diapers that I wasn't planning on. So that's why I think we're over a little bit. I'm gonna leave this for now. We'll see sort of how the rest of the month pans out. I might have to shift money around a little bit, but coming down and looking at the bottom here, so far we've budgeted $2,151 for our variable expenses for the month, and we've spent $1,827. I mean, it's pretty tight, honestly. We'll see how it pans out. I think because we had that extra $375, that will help, because that's basically like extra money then for this category. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. If I need to maybe save less or excuse me, put less to our equity loan, that's fine. And that's actually the change I'm going to do last. So we've got 609 left for the budget. So we'll just do, how do I want to do this? Maybe, let's just see what 1500 would do. It leaves us at 128 left. I think that's probably, maybe I'll do like 1550 to our loan, and I'll just leave 78 and left to budget for now. So then I can maybe add money in some of these categories where we're getting tight, like the area here, like we're already over on girls, so maybe even just bumping that up just to try to kind of balance things out now that we've had a good chunk of the month go by. That will just sort of give me a more realistic understanding of like where we're at, where we have money left to spend, things like that. We are aggressively trying to pay off a home equity loan. We took out a loan to finish our basement on our house, and it was money well spent, but I'm not a huge fan of having debt. And it's a pretty significant amount of money that comes out of our budget each month. We typically have a minimum payment of $1,152. However, my husband and I have been contributing $2,000 a month toward the debt in order to pay it down faster. And then just recently what we had decided is we are going to pay the minimum and then put all of our excess each month into a savings account. And then once the balance is matched, we're going to pay it off in full. The reason we're doing it this way instead of just throwing money at the debt is it's currently sitting at $24,000, a little over. I think it's like $24,500. With the economy not being great and my husband having seen some layoffs at his work, thankfully he was not included, but he's been seeing some. We just want to have a little extra money in our savings account as we get through the holiday season. I calculated how long I project we will take to pay this off. Our goal is by the end of January. And so that means in January, we will pay the entire loan off in full. And then moving forward, we will have an extra $2,000 plus to allocate to other financial goals. And so I think in my January budget with me video, I can have a better sense of what those goals are. We have a few ideas. We want to start saving up for a van. There's other, travel plans, things like that we have in mind. And so we just really want this debt gone. So that is our plan as of now, subject to change, of course. I feel like I'm constantly changing my mind based on the day. But as of now, we are just aggressively trying to put that money aside. So for now, it's sort of our buffer, but really it's earmarked for this debt. A few other things that I like to do just briefly when I do this kind of quick mid-month check-in is I like to check my email and our mail center, like just in our kitchen where we put all of our letters and stuff that we get in the mail, to make sure that we don't have any unexpected bills or ideally like maybe a check in there that we weren't expecting. Doesn't ever happen, but a girl can hope. So I like to check just to make sure that there's nothing sitting out that I've been needing to address, whether it's a bill or some sort of documentation I have to do. It's just kind of my like mid-month check-in for administrative tasks. Really the main focus is just, is there anything unexpected that is popping up that will impact our budget? And I usually do that before I go through and do this assessment. And then another thing that I like to do is look to the next month, just to kind of get a sense of what's coming. For example, if there is maybe a couple kids' birthday parties coming up in the month of September in this case, I might keep my eyes open for presents at stores. I typically just do gift cards because it's easier and then the kids have fun shopping for their own presents. So I do really like gift cards even though they're less personal. But like maybe it's my mother-in-law's, retirement party or something like that. And I want to get ahead on, okay, well, what are we going to get her for a gift? Things like that. So taking a look at the month ahead, finding those big milestone events or just maybe events that could cost some money where I could save money this month by just paying attention to what's coming. It'll also help me kind of focus on like where's our areas of spend this month that are maybe a little bit higher. How is next month going to be impacted? This isn't a very long process. It's just sort of looking at our calendar, looking at our budget. Is it a 4 paycheck or 5 paycheck month? Just kind of getting a rough idea of basically what's coming. So if I do have an opportunity to either get ahead on something or save money here or there, I will jump on it. But other than that, that is my mid-month check-in. Nothing too crazy. I hope this video was helpful. If this is the type of content that you're interested in, I post videos every week talking all about family finance, budgeting tips, how to achieve financial goals, things like that. So I would love to have you follow along. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.